Okay, the podcast is rolling.
The boy, he needs someone to care. A girl to hold his hand, take anywhere. Let's see you leave the wall.
I love seeing you nod from across the room and not in an affirmative, in a no.
I think this iteration of the podcast is play all the bands that sound exactly like the last band that we played.
Oh, it doesn't sound at all like the last band. But
Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to... I already told you that.
yes, welcome.
Did you? Or no?
I have indeed, which is always the premise of this podcast, where
Come
it's a
on.
podcast about music. And ever so often, not every week like it used to be, I bring a song to Brian and we start the podcast and he doesn't know who we're going to talk about until he hears that music. And then we remember together about something that he has heard in our house, but he has forgotten.
And Melissa just plays the same music over and over again and makes up the
Well, you
name
think
of
you
some
would just,
band.
yeah, just some different band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And everybody's like, oh, yeah, we know that one.
But this is also going to be fun because we're on the eve of Halloween, which is one of my favorite Halloween holidays.
It is your favorite Halloween
It is
holiday.
one of my favorite holidays, as you know, Brian.
Yes.
I like to
Do
celebrate.
you think it's
it.
your most favorite?
I mean, I do like Christmas.
Yeah, it's
I hate
hard.
to be in the cheeseball realm of Christmas, but I do enjoy it because I get presents on Christmas. You know, I mean, we do get candy on Halloween, but I would say as a child, Halloween definitely was my favorite holiday.
Oh, heck yes.
Because I think for you and I specifically, growing up in the 70s and 80s, sorry if you're a lot younger, but it was really fun to have Halloween then. And it might just be that it was us being in that time period where I feel that way, but I don't think so. Like, I was just thinking about it today, and I feel like at least half the costumes were made.
Yeah.
At least.
Well,
Like a good percentage.
there were those like plastic garbage bag ones that
but
you
we
could
loved
get.
those too. But I'm just saying, like, most of the time. Like,
Yeah.
how many times did your mom make you a Halloween costume?
Never once.
Really?
I
What's
feel
it called?
like
Stitchery witchery?
no stitchery witchery. I don't want to completely throw under the bus because, of course, I think as a little kid she would put things together, but a lot of times it was up to me.
Really?
How about you? Your mother put together a costume
Stitchery
for you?
witchery.
Yeah?
And if, for those who don't know what stitchery witchery is, if you're in another country, and you probably didn't call it that, it was this adhesive. So if you didn't want to sew, and it was really big in the 70s and 80s, you could put it inside like a piece of fabric and then take an iron and it would fuse. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. It would fuse it together. And I remember many a costume. And I remember the smell of stitchery witchery. I can smell it in my head right now. And it's probably
Burning
just an iron
plastic.
and polyester fabric, you know, like,
Jinx.
yes.
Burning polyester
Burning.
and stitchery
But
witchery.
there's something else I thought about today, and I don't know why. It was just a vivid memory. I was like, what are the things that I think about the most with Halloween? And I think when I was really young, I remember another dated reference, which is what this podcast is for. It's about nostalgia and music mostly, but because it's almost Halloween, I can't help it. And normally we would just re-release our Halloween episode, which we've done the last few years, but not this year. But just so you know, if you're new to this podcast, we have a Halloween episode. You should listen to it. And it has a really cool playlist. Even if you don't listen to the podcast, listen to that. And it's all about Halloween memories and Halloween music, way more than we're going to get into this evening. But it was hard for me not to just re-release that, but I wanted to do something different. So
It's out there. We can relink it.
But one of the things we didn't talk about in that episode that really was like on my brain was I remember like, I think it was like 7-Eleven would be like in consort, what would you say? In league.
Yes.
With the local whatever TV station that was going to show like a scary movie.
Yeah.
And they would have 3D glasses that you would buy at the 7-Eleven, like if you got a Slurpee or something, right?
As a matter of fact, I think the 3D glasses were like adhered to the side of the Slurpee cup.
I think so, maybe. Although that would not be so great for the visual. But you would
Well,
get it.
you peel them off.
Something,
you
I
see
do
they're
think
like
that
a
did
piece of
happen.
paper.
because that would be for like a movie.
Yeah.
But like there was other times just like in the town I lived in where I remember it would be like some really, really old school, not that great 3D movie, which let's be honest, most 3D movies aren't great.
Yeah.
Although I will say the creature from the Black Lagoon stands up, and that is 3D.
What about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
I don't think that was 3D. Was
Come
it?
on, Melissa. As one of the originals, I want to believe.
Maybe. George Clooney. He was in it. I don't really remember that movie, and I think there's a reason.
Well, you see, it's all about tomatoes.
And they're attacking?
Well, they're huge.
Well, I like tomatoes too much. I don't know that I can see them as a villain.
They're going to get you.
But the thing I was going to say was, you would have the glasses, right?
Yes.
And they'd be pumping, like they would tell you the date. So it'd be like at least a month in advance, and you'd be really excited about it. And then when it came on, you would have to adjust your television.
Oh, yes.
And it would tell you, like in the newspaper or the TV guide, like how to adjust it. And I can't even remember. Do you remember?
Turn up the purple, turn down the,
like 'cause you could actually turn up the whatever.
Right.
And then you put the glasses on and watch the movie. And it was great. It was way better than ever doing it in the movie theater.
Uh-huh.
Because it was at home.
It was at home, of course.
And you were like, my television is going to be 3D right now?
And it looks so awesome.
It really was. Did you do that at all? when you
I
were young?
do remember that vaguely, the local television station putting on some old movie that they just basically like change the color a little bit on it and make it like, oh, it's 3D.
Yeah.
And you wear the glasses with the red and the blue.
I loved it. I just loved
It's pretty
loved it.
good.
Yeah, so
It's
that's
pretty good.
probably my favorite thing about Halloween when we were kids.
I love a smell of a pumpkin with a candle in it, burning the top of the pumpkin, you know, because you
really?
put the candle down inside and then you plop the lid back on and the candle burns the inside of that
Well, also, it's already a little bit
pumpkin
moldy
lid. Yeah.
because we always cut it too early, and then it's just like this dying vessel. It was never very pretty. And we bought a pumpkin this year, and it like got disgusting within 2 days without me even cutting it. I was very
Honestly,
bummed.
my memory is of Halloween and being really excited about going out for candy getting. And I lived in a neighborhood in the suburbs. So, of course, the candy getting was good. And it seemed like without fail, that would be the night my mother would decide to make like tuna noodle casserole with peas.
She was trying to line your stomach for all the
Which-
candy.
Absolutely was like barf on a plate to me, and I had to sit and eat all of it before I could go out for trick or treating.
And to this day, Brian still hates peas.
Oh
Like,
God, it's
especially frozen
shivers.
peas.
Those egg noodles and that
I
canned
actually
tuna
love it.
and some cream of mushroom all mixed up and thrown in the oven.
I could eat it right now.
My mother, bless her heart, not the greatest cook.
It's okay.
And then brought it particularly harsh on Halloween. But
So that's what she always did on Halloween was tuna casserole?
But what made up for it is the guy in the neighborhood who would make hot dogs in his garage and had McDonald's orange drink. And another guy would set up a coffin and lay in it dressed up like Dracula
That's pretty good stuff.
with, of course, dry ice going and scary music.
The dry ice.
I mean,
You know,
I believe even a record of like, scary music playing. They went all out and I appreciated it.
you had a good suburban neighborhood.
It was good. It was good. Some people really did it.
You know, that's what makes it. You know, that's what's so weird is, we live overseas in Italy, and when they do Halloween, not to diss it, it's just they're doing it differently because, I don't think they've been doing it for as long as we did when we were kids in America.
Oh, I don't know.
And then they don't go to people's houses.
Well, we wouldn't know. They don't come to our house, Melissa.
Honey, I don't think so. But every time we've ever seen kids trick-or-treating, they're going to businesses.
That's true.
They're in the mall, or they're like, we live in a pretty like just little medieval town next to it, and like in that town they'll be out tomorrow. I'm gonna
true.
definitely go look for them, but I would be, because I remember we lived down there and no one knocked on our door.
That's
rang
right.
the bell.
That's
I was
right.
ready for it.
Commercial enterprises. They are expected to hand out candy to the kids.
Which happens in America too, because they're like, well, come in.
That's
buy
right.
stuff.
Buy stuff. We'll give you this crappy Twizzlers.
And speaking of food, just to bring up a little multitasking, I am cooking the holiday chili that I'm making tomorrow. So we're crossing streams right now because I'm pressure cooking something in the next room. It could blow off
It
at
could
any
go.
second. But it means that a timer will go off. And when you hear that timer, it's the chili timer, and I'm sorry, but there was no way I could do both things at the same time.
Just no way to mute the timer.
Both of my interests, cooking and music, are coming together.
Esoteric bands that I supposedly heard of.
They're not that esoteric. You just didn't hear them.
So, all right, we had some music that played
We did.
like a good, 8-10 minutes ago. And we heard a woman singing
Yes.
and some other things happening.
There was a guitar.
There was a guitar in there. There was a band, presumably,
Yes.
behind this woman singing. So this had to have been Janie and the old Rocket Tops.
Yes, you're exactly
That's who
right.
it is, right?
No. I don't think you're ever going to guess it.
I don't think I'm ever going to guess it.
No. We're going to talk about the Glee Club.
You're right. I am never going to guess
And
that.
if anything, this week I had been referencing that we were talking about a band that formed in Galway, Ireland. So that part you would know.
Okay, the
if you
Glee
were-
Club from Galway, Ireland.
Well, I don't know if they're from, but that's where they formed.
I see.
Because before that, they were in another band that I came across while doing this research for, because I knew about the Glee Club, but I didn't know anything about, people are always in bands beforehand.
Sure.
But they were in another band called the Swinging Swine.
Swinging Swine.
Yeah, that was more folk rock.
Okay.
And in that band, two people met each other and then continued to be in this band. And they were Joanne Lohman and on vocals, who you just heard singing.
Yes.
And then Hugh O'Carroll, who plays guitar and plays violin.
Okay.
And then also at a later point, they got Kevin Boyle, who's playing guitar and bass and doing some programming. And they were kind of a three-piece at first. And then later on, there were two different drummers. There was Justin Healy and then also Adrian Meehan.
Okay.
Okay? So that's
Two
the basics.
drummers at the same time?
No.
You're talking double drummers?
No.
So when you say
And
that
then
name...
also, I have to say that
Okay.
we'll get into it later. Never mind. I'm not going to bring that up yet. But remind me later, another band member will also be in this band.
I'm supposed to remind you
Yes.
of this.
You won't. I'll remember. It's fine.
So when you say the name Glee Club, that does ring a bell somewhere back in the recesses.
When we first met, I was probably still listening to this pretty often. So this came out, and we're going to talk about an album. So we're going back to the album format.
Okay.
Because really, they don't have that much material. They have 2 records, and they have 1 mini album. And a mini album came out first in, I think, 1990.
Mini? What is a mini album?
Like an EP. Like it's just not a whole
okay.
record. But they
So when you say mini, is it like tiny?
Well, not really. It's very tiny. The only reason I say that is because they actually called it that. So I'm going to call it that. Even
Maybe
though-
it was small.
But this album was a lot of those songs re-recorded and then more songs. And
From the mini album. I see.
and it came out in 1994, and it's called Mine. And it was definitely at the height of my 4AD interests, and I definitely bought it when it came out. And I had no idea what it was. I was thinking about this just this week when I was doing this. There really was a time period, and I could probably sketch out what those years were where if something came out on 4AD, I would just buy it, even if I didn't know what it was. So it just happened. And this was a very lucky accident.
So what you're telling me is this is yet another 480 band.
But the weird thing I didn't know was it was only on 4AD in the US.
Interesting.
In Europe, it was on a different record label.
Weird.
I know.
Wonder why that is.
I don't know. Just the way the distribution worked out, I guess. But
Let's
we'll get
let's
into
get
that later. We'll get into that.
Evo on the line.
Evo will be part of our conversation, but not yet.
Okay.
But let's listen to a little bit more of that song. So we're going to play the first song off that record, which is the first song you heard. And that song is called Need. And I'm going to play it from where it was again, because I want you to hear it, because we're going to go a little bit further into it.
The boy, he needs someone to care. A girl to hold his hand, take anywhere. Let's see you leave the wall.
Lovely.
And Hugh O'Carroll is playing the violin. So he plays guitar.
Ah, I was coming in there
Yes.
right as we faded out.
One of the things you're going to notice right off the bat, Brian, is what?
She sings.
And how do you feel about her singing?
It's really lovely.
Isn't
She's
it
got an
beautiful?
angelic voice.
And can you understand too, like you're just hearing the beginning of that record, but like just starting off,
Yeah.
you get into that. It's like,
Nice melody.
I think that you're going to be safe. Like it's going to be okay.
Did I hear somebody else trying to chime in there with some vocals, or was that something else going on?
No.
I think maybe it's a little guitar
I think
thing.
you're hearing voices, which is also part of Halloween.
Very spooky.
And because I think you're starting to lose your mind.
I need to get the voices under control. You're right. Oh my gosh.
But with this voice, I feel like you don't want to get that under control. You just want to
No.
hear it over and over again. So let's go a little bit further into the first song off of Mine by the Glee Club from 1994, Need.
Share me with Charlotte, Steve, follow my face around the room and make again. The boy needs someone.
Dynamic.
Indeed. And, you know, you don't want to compare people or say that they sound,
Compare
but
away.
it's very Sinead O'Connor sounding
Huh,
to me.
really?
Yes.
I don't hear that as much, but I know you
That when
mean
she
like
was
the more like rawness of what she just
yeah,
did.
like when
Okay.
she
The
was
emotion.
going up.
The
in-
emoting.
Yeah, and the reverby kind of
And
sound
the
that they were
delicateness to the harsh, which is something I very much like about her
making. The
voice.
delicateness to the harsh.
That's what I would say.
Ooh.
The leather and lace, which is so beautiful. I mean, I mean, we've been doing this for a while. It's pretty obvious that I love it when someone
do.
sings very delicately and then can be very raw. I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's something that I never get bored of or tired of. And this record, I'm so glad we're covering it because I also wanted to cover it. Not that I feel like it's Halloweeny, but it's a bit moody. So I felt like it fit into the season. You know,
Yes.
it definitely has this very like you're in the middle of nowhere. It's very sparse and beautiful, but not all the time.
Is it like you're in a mine?
No, it's not.
Is it that kind of mine?
Like a gold mine or like a mining for something.
The name of the album.
I think
You said it's called Mine,
I think that means like you're mine.
like MINE,
That's how.
which
it's
is the
spelled.
same as a gold mine.
Ooh,
So it could be both.
dude, you're deep. You're getting me with this now,
be the
Brian.
canary
I
in
didn't
the
even
coal
think about
mine.
this. Let's
This
listen.
is the kind of
in-depth
analysis
analysis.
I'm going to bring to this.
Which, speaking of in-depth analysis, I'm going to be quoting some information from an article I read that was from the Blackpool Sentinel, and I'm going to connect it to this. And it was an interview with a guest host, and it was Hugh O'Carroll from this band talking about the history of their band and how everything, basically how they were in this band before, and then how they got signed, and how all that happened, and then also the end of them playing for a little while, but then starting again. So throughout, that's what I'll be quoting from, but I will
Okay.
also link it to the podcast. But let's listen to one more song and then we'll get into a little bit more detail about them.
Great.
This song is called No Reason.
No meaning here, all shame, still, no reasons clear. See, this place I'm going, I
Some serious bass work going on that one.
Isn't that nice? And also, very shortly, it's going to get into this next part of the song, which of course I have a heart for this section, Brian.
You've been really getting into this like sectional heart business.
Because I really do feel like there are sectional hearts. There's part of a song where you're just like, oh my God, that is so like, it's the goosebump factor where it like, and not to challenge you to see if it happens, but where it just really, really gets you. I mean, you'd have to be alive, first of all. First, alive. Secondly, you have to have a soul.
Third, stop listening to the voices in your head.
Yes. So anyway, I just think that there's so many parts to this song that are beautiful. But then, there's just certain ones where when you're listening to it, you're like, oh, no, that's important. That should not be skipped over. You should really pay attention to it. So listen to that section with a heart from No Reason.
I see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm. And why would that be, Brian?
Because it kind of rocks out a little bit.
It burst into something, which you weren't probably expecting them to do.
Yeah.
And also has a little shoegazy of a sound to that part.
Sure.
But I think it's great. But what's missing from it?
She wasn't singing during that
So let's go back up. A positive nod.
That was good.
You like that? I wrote a silly note there. I was like, it kind of reminds me of Don't Stop Believin' a little bit. Because it has that kind of anthem to me. Like she's saying the, like that note, like when he does that thing where he goes like really, really high. Same kind of, I don't know. Journey can find its way into many things. But beautiful, beautiful. I just, adore.
That's good.
And once again, I love doing this with you because it's just fun to kind of sit around and listen to music and be like getting back
especially
into
if you've
it.
never heard it before.
So
that must be hard for her to reproduce that on a stage when she's singing all of her backups like that.
Well, from what I read, they did have backing tracks, I think, playing live when they would do things. So they might have had some background stuff canned, but I didn't see them live, so I don't know.
Milli Vanilli style?
No. Girl, she was singing and it's true. Don't even.
Nice.
I know, it's silly. So like I told you, when they got together, so they had been in another band and Hugh O'Carroll said that they always got on really well. Like he got on with everybody in the Swinging Swine, but him and Joanne especially really connected musically and personally. They just got along really well. And when that band was no longer... he started playing in some other things. She did as well. And then he kind of came back to it and was like, let's try to do something. So they did. But also just understand the Swinging Swine had a lot of popularity in Ireland. And so like they had been played on television. There's tons of YouTube videos of them playing and interviews. Like they were very critically accepted and liked, throughout the UK. So they weren't unknown. And so because of that not being unknown, a certain person had probably heard her sing before. And they got signed very quickly after they made a demo to Setiana Records, which is the record label that they're signed to in Europe.
Okay.
The Divine Comedy was on that label. That's the only thing I know from that. But yes, Brian.
The book, The Divine Comedy?
No, the band.
Oh, I see.
So anyway, they had like a mini little thing that they did, and it was pretty, as the Glee Club, and people liked it, but it wasn't like a full LP.
Did you just say the mini record again?
Yeah, I did. Because that's what they called it. I'm only going to refer to it because that's Mr. O'Carroll called it.
I just want to vision a tiny little record.
It's a little tiny record.
It's like the ones that you would play on like, a little wind-up thing.
Yes, it's very, very small. But Ivo had heard Joanne's voice before, and he was interested in working with them, but he felt like the mini album was a little too rock. So
To rock for Ivo.
So they were very excited because they were fans of the Cocteau Twins and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that first thing that they recorded, I'm pretty sure they recorded at Dave Campbell's studio from the Eurythmics.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. Dave Stewart Campbell. What
Yeah,
am
I was going to
saying?
say, wait a minute.
You know, Dave Campbell was also Dave Stewart. It's before he got married and he changed his name. No, Dave Stewart. And then another famous studio is that they re-recorded a pared down version of Need, which was the first song you heard.
Okay.
And that they did that at this place called the Drugstore. In the Drugstore, that's what it's
Okay.
called, which was Jesus and Mary Chain Studio.
Oh.
And Ivo very much liked it. And they were like, let's do something.
Huh.
So they went back into Eden Studios with Hugh Jones, who was an Echo and the Bunnymen. And
Goodness.
they recorded 4 more tracks.
Connected.
I know. But the end result was songs that were from the old record and this new material. And then they put out a full LP.
A long play.
Yes, a long play. And then they agreed that Setiana, or excuse me, I'm not probably saying it right. It's this is the part of the podcast where I
Here we
spell out
go.
loud to Brian.
You spell words.
Setanta.
Setiana. Yes.
Ta.
Setianta.
Yeah. That was where they were. So Europe was putting that out, and 4AD said, we'll put it out in the US.
Okay.
So that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So let's listen to a little bit more of this record song. Record song. Did I just say record song?
song.
Oh my God. We're doing this at night, y'all, which is not usually when we do this. So I'm not my perky self, although I'm trying to be. This song is called Bad Child's Dolly.
Close your eyes to see the light. Read the cards and hope for better. Can wear the smile, believe the signs, pray for ways to pay. Do you play the part of a bad child's dolly? Do you feel it's all in vain? One more day of this mindless folly, and we'll all go down insane.
Cool.
And this was a single off this record. So we're going to get a little further into it in a minute. Cool. Brian, when are you going to turn the tables on me?
Never.
When's that going to happen?
No, I like it better when you do it.
Yeah.
It's easier for me.
I was just thinking about it today. I was like, it's so freaking relaxing. We've only done it a few times. So if you're also new, turn the tables was when Brian would sometimes do this to me.
Uh-huh.
And I cannot tell you how relaxing it is to sit and just be like, okay, cool. Like, it's fun. Like,
The
I miss
problem
it.
is when you say, hey, we're doing turn the tables, everybody reaches for the stop button and moves
Why do you
on to
say
their next
that?
podcast. Melissa, they're not coming here for me.
Oh, that's not true.
They're coming here
Please.
to hear the knowledge of the professor over there.
No, there's no professor. Anyway,
That's why they're here.
let's listen to a little bit more of Bad Child's Dolly.
Today sit up and now get down. Broken arms and pain, the body will swing by hand. Pretend that we can sit and stare. Take the sound, listen aloud. Play the words and hope for better.
I think I heard a little saxophone in that one, maybe.
You did?
Did you hear some?
No.
There was like a...
No, I think that was the violin.
Oh,
I don't think there's any sax in there.
okay. You don't know. Maybe you picked up a sax on the
Did,
side.
did you want some saxophone in there? It
sounded like
You're
it.
like, you know, what's missing from that song?
Little saxophone.
A little saxophone. That's what everyone always says.
So you're saying these songs are from the mini album,
Not all of them.
but now are we into the new material? Is this still mini album
We're
material?
only talking about the record Mine.
Right, but you
So-
said that songs came from the mini album.
But unfortunately, that is not, I couldn't find the track listing for the mini album, so I
Oh.
don't know which songs were on it.
I see.
But I do know that they were all re-recorded for this one. So it wasn't
Okay.
like none of, like, they're all that material is on here. But I don't know how many songs were on the mini album. I don't know how tiny it was.
Right.
I don't know
can fit.
if it was a gatefold mini album.
Oh,
I don't know if it was
like a double mini album.
Yes, I don't know.
That's the way they should do these things. Don't put out the big album with 6 songs on each side.
Just mini.
4 mini albums.
It's probably a good idea.
It's going to get everybody very excited.
Yeah. What's your favorite Halloween candy, Brian Morrissey?
Ooh.
We're going to be sprinkling in Halloween throughout this episode.
It's easy. Whoppers.
Really?
I love a Whopper.
But that's not really necessarily Halloween candy.
What are you talking about?
That's movie candy.
You're the little sleeve of 3
Okay.
Whoppers. You got to be out of your mind.
Okay.
But the problem with that is I have to eat like 14 of them to feel.
Satiated.
Yeah.
Complete.
Next in line, probably an Almond Joy. What about you, Melissa? What is your favorite?
You know, I was just
Halloween
thinking
candy?
about it. I liked bottle caps when I was a kid, which is so embarrassing. But when Halloween came around, I really liked bottle caps,
Wait
which
a
they don't have anymore. You can't find them.
Like sweet and sour ones or sour caps?
They were all kind of that way.
Or is it just
you know
the
what bottle
plain-
caps were?
Yeah. The plain chalky
There was usually a root beer one.
circle.
It was root beer, like cherry.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
I mean, it's not amazing. I
Those would usually be towards the end in the bottom of the bag.
for
For
me,
sure.
those were pretty high.
Wow. So you'd go first off with those.
I just really like them. I'm not much of a chocolate person per se. I mean, I enjoy it, but milk chocolate is not my jam.
Yeah.
I don't mind it if it has lots of things in it. That's why we used to buy the variety pack of like candy bars, but the total thing that is not cool about it is you always end up with these little Hershey's bars that are just milk chocolate and
goodness,
taste like
no.
nothing. And it's just not okay. They should just get rid of
Or-
them. It's like the only way that they can sneak them in there.
I'll even say like a 3 Musketeers is a bit disappointing to me.
Yeah.
Because it's just that mush of goo in the middle
And
of
they're
it.
so similar to a Snickers, but so different.
Oh, they're miles away from a Snickers.
Miles.
What's your stance on Smarties, Melissa?
I don't really, I mean, they're okay. You know how I feel about Swedish Fish, though. I'm into it.
I can remember.
And a blow pop. I did enjoy a blow pop before they destroyed my teeth. I was really into them.
How many licks does it take to get to the center?
That's a Tootsie Pop.
Of a Tootsie Pop?
I don't like those as much because when you get a Tootsie Roll inside, that's not so
Yeah.
great.
No.
It's much better to
Sticks your
have
teeth.
gum. Anyway, let's get into a little bit more music.
Butterfinger. Also, big fan. Big fan.
Brian could go on about candy. If I didn't stop him. What?
1,000 grand? Oh, man, those are good.
You don't see them anymore.
Heath Bar?
Oh, see?
Yes.
I'm going to have to stop you. Oh my gosh. It's
Milk
my fault.
Duds?
It's my fault.
Not really.
It's my fault. Let's listen to a little bit more of the Glee Club from the record Mine that came out in 1994. I'm going to keep saying it so maybe it gets in there. It's not the mini album. And this song is called Already There. Speaking of
That's
spooky,
pretty spooky Halloween-y
that's
right
what
there.
I was gonna say.
That could make the mix for sure.
That's very spooky, don't you think?
It's very like Friday Nightmare on Elm Street. It's kind of
Yes. But the thing that's interesting about that song, right, is it starts that way, which I wanted you to hear, but then it's gonna get much more melodic-y.
Okay, melodic-y.
Like out of the atonalness, it'll get more into like a positive. What's positive? Like there's sharp and then
Tonal.
there's tonal. It'll get into
In key.
a more. It's always in key, but it'll get into a more
Major key,
a major key.
not a minor key.
Yes, let's listen to it in a major key. Already there.
Skeleton key.
Ha. hear some toms, Brian.
So I've always saying the mini album was too rocking.
I think the version of it that he heard.
I see.
Yes.
And then they put out this because this is kind of rocking.
Well, as they said in the Hugh O'Carroll thing that I read, they kind of re-recorded things in the mind of 4AD, which they were happy to do. And they were very happy with the results.
What is the mind of 4AD?
Well, I mean, more just
Please.
ethereal, like they were influenced by those kind of bands, and like in fact too, like they toured with Radiohead and Slowdive, or
Really?
opened for those people back then.
Nice.
When I don't know if it was when they were in the early parts of the Glee Club, or if it was the Swinging Swine. I think it was the early parts of the Glee Club that they did that. So, yeah, I just think that it was probably a little more rocking, and they got a little bit more pared down and more moody and atmospheric with it, which it works. This record, as a lot of records, when we talk about a whole album, I think it really works. It all feels very connected.
I see.
It makes sense to me. But another interesting thing about this was they were very heavily pushed by 4AD in the US when this record came out, which was not always the case. So they did pretty well on college radio and all that stuff. They moved to San Francisco because they thought that they should be in the US to play more. So only two of them, though, did. Just Hugh O'Carroll and Joanne moved there because they said, as he referenced, he's like, we couldn't afford to bring everybody.
Yeah.
So they would play just the two of them.
Wow.
And have backing tracks for what they needed. So they played in San Francisco and Los Angeles. And then another thing I found really interesting is they went on tour with Low for this record.
How about that?
And they were their opener, and they went from coast to coast with them for a month, and they really loved it. So interesting connection to
That
something
is
that
an
I
interesting
also love, which I would have loved to see that, because I've seen Low every time they've toured, but I didn't see them with the Glee Club. That would have been amazing. But anyway,
You were too
Kind of-
busy,
kind of interesting.
being outside, Melissa?
don't
Not
know.
listening to the opener, being late to the show?
I don't know. I mean, I think I opened for Low the next year. So like
What?
that's, or 96. So
So you're saying you could have been in the Glee Club?
no, not at all. But they did it in 94. But you know what I mean? Like, wow. But it's pretty crazy to me. We're going to listen to a little bit more, Brian.
Okay.
And it is going to happen sometimes. We're going to listen to multiple sections of songs because we're not playing whole records. But I do want to reiterate that I do make a mix, which will mostly be this whole album, but it will start off with one of the a track from their original band, the Swinging Swine, as well. Probably like one of the most popular tracks that they had. And buy their records. Find it.
Even
Buy
if
it.
they're mini.
Yeah, if they're really tiny, buy that one and send it to me. This song is called Free to Believe.
Waters high, just like the hopes of us all, and days gone by as days go by. Some you see, and all the oceans they've crossed is wasted land, and money is lost.
Yeah. I like that one.
Groovy.
Yeah,
right?
it's groovy.
Also, I failed to mention, Brian, the thing I was going to say to you. You were supposed to remind me, but you didn't.
Oh.
When they first started recording this record, I don't know exactly when, but Kevin Boyle, who was playing guitar and bass and was part of their initial band,
Okay.
he had a baby and he left the band. So I know.
No reason to
That
leave
was a
a
song.
band.
No, you're calling back. Yeah, babies will do that sometimes. But I wanted to mention that. So we're going to get a little bit further into the song right now.
Again, not to make comparisons.
No, please make
But it
comparisons.
reminds me a little of another Irish band that we're big fans of, Just Mustard.
Huh.
A little Just Mustardy in that song,
And the
I think.
moodiness of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
I can see that.
I
Also,
mean, they have a little, sharper of an edge to them, but
Sharper of an edge.
I think so. She's got some
No,
melodies
I would agree.
going on
I would
there.
agree. Just Mustard has a sharper of an edge.
But melody-ish like that.
Yes, definitely melodish. So I'm looking at, I don't mean to not be looking at you. I'm doing the thing I always do where I'm trying to look at what I'm doing and look at this. And
This
then
is
I'm
good
like,
podcasting right here. Describing what's going on.
well, because I'm playing the music and I'm controlling it. And it's a lot sometimes. That's why I want to be on Turn the Tables and relax. But in this song, it really does build up. And a lot of that thing I was already talking about earlier where it can be really soft and then hard. I wanted you to hear a little bit more of that.
You said something else before.
Leather and
this.
lace?
No, even something else other than that.
Something silly.
Yes.
What did I say?
I can't remember.
Bottle
It was
caps?
fantastic. Yes.
It was so fantastic.
I totally remember.
Totally forgot it.
Yeah.
Let's listen to a little bit more of Free to Believe when she's might be going to lose it a little bit. Jeez.
Yeah.
What do you
Nice.
think of that?
Again, kind of it's good. What I think of it is it's good. I enjoy. I think I enjoy that sound.
It's beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, the way that she is losing it,
Yeah.
which is always something I'm super
Doing
down
that
with.
kind of like voice flippy thing where it's like, whoa. Like,
The dolphin.
yeah, the dolphin.
We were just watching a Cocteau Twins video. I was in bed, and I was showing you. I was like, I haven't really watched, like, it's funny because, all you youngsters have YouTube now and you can watch like every single thing. But I sometimes forget that I can do that. But it's good that I forget because I would never leave my house. Like all I would do, and the thing is now the algorithms are starting to pick up because I was watching like Jules Holland and it was like Seal,
David Byrne.
the Cocteau Twins, Cracker, and who else was it? I was like, and some another band that was from Africa, and it was just like,
Yes.
and they were all standing next to each other because that's the amazing thing about Jules Holland. It just reminded me how much I love that show, but it's just so much. And we were watching, and it was the Cocteau Twins, and she was singing a song called Carolyn's Fingers, which is from Bluebell Knoll, and she was dolphining it up in such a way that it was amazing, just like, like, oh my God, like I just couldn't handle it. And the next day it was like, why did the Cocteau Twins break up? Was on my YouTube. And I was like, stop it. I will not watch all these.
You're not giving.
I will not. God. Yeah. I just feel like like in this whole digital age, like, I just feel like sometimes kind of like a huge Luddite in these ways. Like
Hold on a second.
Yes.
We need to go back on that one.
Luddite.
I think it's just Luddite.
Is it just Luddite?
It's just a Luddite.
You
straight
can't be a
up.
Luddite.
You could be a Luddite. As a matter of fact, that sounds a lot better. It's a
I think
Luddite.
it's better. Point being, like, for those of us that aren't really great at technology, being in our middle age and trying to like make friends is such a weird, crazy thing that like I still don't kind of understand how to do it, and I'm really shitty at it. So it becomes this thing of like if people only like get to know you through text messaging and algorithms and all that kind of stuff, I'm not going to fare well. Because like, I think I've told you before, like when I was young and I was like in middle school and like people would write you notes, like your friends, and it'd
Yeah.
have that little thing where you'd pull it out and it had your name on it, like to
Sure.
and from.
Yeah.
I would have people get mad at me because like I couldn't keep up with like the note
The exchange.
and then when like people would call me, like I'd be like bored on the phone. Like I just don't like that stuff. I like in person, like I like sitting
brief
across
periods of
from
time.
you, which speaking of, like it's what I like. I don't like it that way. So for others that are like that, I see you. I know how you feel. It's difficult to be in this time period where like You're supposed to be
The
quippy
algorithms.
and send like funny little things all the time and be like, I'm just like, I don't want to write 20 people every single day through text messaging.
It's
just-
amazing
that's too much.
we are able to get this done.
It is amazing. But it's also why our podcast is not number one in America.
Hey now.
And other reasons. But it's
We love our
Yeah.
dedicated following.
it's because there's no way that I would ever be good at doing that stuff.
So
But
if there's
yeah.
anybody out there that likes the algorithms,
And would like to take care of that for me, please take over.
jump in.
Let's listen to some more of the Glee Club from the Mine album. The song is called Drives You Away.
Still, water's clear and you're sickened by its cleansing. Still, water's clear.
When I listen to recordings like this, I imagine in my head that music video of like people standing, like the band are standing, but they're like separate from each other. And there's like one spotlight on them and the camera's just kind of like floating from each of them. Like, so there's the guy playing the violin, like standing in the back, like playing the violin with the light on him. And then like the bass player, like on one side, and then she's there probably holding the microphone stand singing into it.
Ooh, that's a nice visual. We need to look up tonight to see if they're on Jules Holland. I bet you they are. I'll look.
But
and
this would be
see.
the music video, you see, that I'm painting the picture of.
Oh, I like the picture you're painting.
Yes.
This song is a big favorite of mine. I like it very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it shows like how sometimes in this record there can be things that are kind of quiet, but this song is not.
Okay.
And it's very beautiful. And I
So
think
we're
the
going to a different
violin-
song. You're
No,
not parting
same
this
song,
one out.
same
Oh,
song.
same song.
But of course, this section is a harder
Okay.
in Drives You Away.
Water's clear while you count the ways of drowning. The water stealing around you. The water feeding around
Dude,
Yeah.
what do you think of that?
It's lovely.
Mm.
It's really nice. She's got a nice voice. She done well.
She done good.
She done good with that voice
She did.
of hers.
She did sing it
Yeah.
well.
Nice
feel
melodies.
Like it was good singing and it was enjoyable.
I mean, I could see it verging a little bit in like adult contemporary world.
what? Not at all. What adult contemporary world are you living in?
Just the one that's a little easy listening, you know?
Oh.
Like if someone
Okay.
mistakes it for that. It's no diss.
Well, let's
It's
go a little
good.
further into that song and see how adult contemporary it is and Drives You Away. Super adult contemporary. Yeah, burn.
I mean, it was. Oh, I'm burnt. Just it was more straightforward than the other songs that seemed to have a little more
But it
like,
didn't stay
dimension.
there. It didn't
to
stay
them.
there. So I'm saying, like, so please, Brian,
Yes.
after this, listen to the whole record.
Of course.
It definitely has. The thing about it when we're listening to it this way is that you just don't get the full scope of it, which is why I try to pick all these little sections so you know that it changes.
It's not just like this.
Yeah, it does. It does do its thing, you know.
Okay.
So we only have a few more songs left, but they're all harders. So I'm excited to listen to them. This song is called Remember the Years.
Tears shed on foreign soil, life spotted the strongest boy. Years telling the glory days, all taken away.
See, that's got some dimension to it.
Huh.
It's interesting. You got this
Yeah.
kind of weird, spooky, surf rocky guitar going on,
Yeah.
and then she's
It
kind of
is very
got
surf
this.
rocky.
Yeah.
You're on with that. I totally agree with you.
Some
And,
spring reverb going on that guitar.
and once again, a little spooky,
Yeah, definitely.
but it gets beautiful. So let's listen to a little bit more of Remember the Years.
We remember the years, the days that you made. Melodies, tragedies, colored tongue, and you were the song. Manic glare on your insane eye, all washed away. Those telling tears still real.
I forgot to mention that's a double harder.
It's good. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, such a beautiful
For sure.
part
There's
of that
that
song.
creepy violin going on in the background.
And that song goes on for quite a long time. It's 6 minutes long. At the end of it, it just gets in this very trancy kind of kind of wonderful thing. So I hope you give it a listen.
Stick it out all the way through that one.
Stick it out.
Pull it out.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
So favorite Halloween movie, Brian?
Oh my goodness.
We have been epically. But the other thing we do at Halloween, as you're thinking about it, I'm going to tell people. We epically watch scary movies the month of October. And I don't like scary movies, but I have made it a holiday tradition that we watch scary things in October.
Yeah.
And it has become something I very much look forward to because I have learned through research and being a dork about it that like there are movies I like. I just don't like Saw. Like I don't like just gory
Absolute
movies.
slashers.
But movies like I will mention No One Will Find You, No One Will Save You, excuse me, which is a science fiction horror film. Brilliant. I think it was.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh
I
my
enjoyed
God.
it.
There was like no talking in it.
Yeah, it was good.
It's an alien spooky movie. If you're looking for something, go watch it. Amazing. We're going to watch Longlegs tomorrow night, which is a movie with Nicolas Cage in it that looks very, very creepy. And I know he's barely in it, but you can't even recognize him when he is. And it looks super, super freaky. And last night we watched the first episode of the mini series that came out in 1983 called V. Because for you and I both, that was a very scary thing when we were children. I was
Totally.
9 years old and I was terrified, or 8 actually, I think when that came
Yeah.
out. Oh my God, terrified. But yeah. So favorite scary movie of all time?
None. Zero. Don't like scary movies. I will never forget. I think it was either on television or maybe one of my older brothers rented it. But I have this forever seared into my memory, like the beginning of Friday the 13th, where kids, there was this advertisement to get this like pumpkin mask.
Oh yeah.
And all the kids got the
That
pumpkin
was like
mask.
Halloween 4 or something.
And they put it
Halloween
on.
3.
And then it was like you were saying, the television thing, they were like, everybody get home and watch TV and watch this great thing, but you have to have that mask on. And they all put it on. And then the TV started flashing and all the kids with the mask on, their face turned to worms.
Oh, scary.
It was mega scary. Like it freaked me out completely because you're watching television. you're watching the movie on your television, and then it would like switch to what the kids are watching. It would do it to you, and I'm like, oh my god, my face is gonna turn to worms.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was super scary.
I'm sorry.
Hated that, and then also hated the
I said
first
favorite,
time.
not hated.
And I said I don't have any favorites because I don't like them. The first time I got to go to like a girl boy party, I was all excited about it, and they're like, "Oh, let's watch a movie." I'm like, "Great, cool. What movie are we gonna watch?" "Oh, it's called Pet Cemetery." I'm like, "What's that?" "Oh, it's cool. It's a scary movie." And I was like, "Oh no." It scared the shit out of me.
I've told you before, I went on a double
Hated
date to
it.
that movie. Oh my God.
God. It's just like many times I've been tricked into going to scary movies and coming out of it just like gut wrenched.
Well, the best thing about our scary movie experience is that's the reason I think I invited people over tomorrow night so you can't do it to me, which is I always save the scariest one
This is
for
why
my
you're
research
doing this, isn't it?
For Halloween night. And Brian, without fail, like I'll be watching it. It's getting to the scariest point and he is sawing logs and I am alone. I'm alone in fear. I am not comforted. I am not feeling that, camaraderie of like fear with someone else. I'm just by myself scared. And you wake up and you're like, oh, what happened? And I'm like, you know what? This is not okay.
What?
So many times. So I invited people over because you will not fall asleep in front of other humans.
Well, because it's a
which is
combination
interesting.
of like piles of food, piles of candy, usually some special drinks, and then I immediately fall asleep. So I can't do this.
Not this year.
Charlie Brown, Halloween.
Yeah, but as far as kid things, there's a million.
That's my favorite of all the Charlie Browns, I would say, for sure. The Pumpkin Patch one?
That's pretty great.
Come on.
It's a pretty
The
great.
Great Pumpkin.
It is probably the best one.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I think it's the original Charlie, like the Charlie Brown dance when he has the Halloween party.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might have been before.
Do, 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 do.
I think the Halloween special is also underrated. That's a pretty good one.
The Halloween special?
Not Halloween, excuse me. The Valentine's Day one.
Oh,
I
we're
think
not
that
talking
one's.
about that.
I know. Anyway, let's get back to the Glee Club. This song is called All the Promises, and it's another harder.
Here it comes again, another last day. Every single year we need the last day. All the promises are sweet. Man has always lived and feared the last day. Words of stone have lights of fear.
I love that guitar part. How it's coming in like that.
Oh, the one that's coming in.
I just love it. It's just gorge-ish. Ishness.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it is all of the tone is just a little below. It's a little atonal, as you would say.
I think it's just so delicate. I love, because there's so many things on 4AD where someone has way too much reverb. Her reverb is
Yeah, it's good.
perfect.
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect. It's like a just gorgeous, this whole environment they're making. I just want to like burrow into it and never leave. Like I'm in the Glee Club land. I'm just there. But we're going to listen to a little bit further in All the Promises because you need to hear what was just about to happen in that song.
Lights of fears and secrets. All the promises are sweet. All the promises are sweet. But to run away have ruined the last bit.
I heard that actually when I was making the mix, and I hoped I was just my headphones, but it must just be the. I have a feeling this record is out of print. We own it. We have it in this house.
Oh.
But I have a feeling that the digital YouTube music version I got of it had a bit of a glitch, and apparently it did because we just heard it again. Sorry about that. That's not part of the song, just so you know.
Yeah, don't worry.
Well, Well, we're almost finished, Brian. We just have one more song.
Okay.
And I want to tell you a little bit more about the Glee Club. So they had this record. They were doing well. Things were, happening for them. But this was in 1994, which is a weird time for 4AD. And they felt like both 4AD and Satyanta, whatever, saying it wrong, were losing interest in what they were doing, as far as like there was just like a slow build to like their popularity, and they felt like they weren't going to give them a second record. And so he kind of knew that, so he called up Joanne and said, I don't think this is going to work. I think we have to stop. And so they did.
Wow.
So they stopped for like 20 years.
Okay.
But they put out another record. They have another record, which you can find on YouTube Music as well. But yeah, they waited 20 years, and it's very different from this record. But the other thing, and I had to go back to search to see if I was right, and I was right, is that the year Ivo left 4AD was 1994.
Oh.
And so a lot of artists like Lisa Germano and other people I've mentioned in the past who were pretty championed by him, once he was gone, they just didn't get the kind of support they needed. And not to speak, that's just allegedly my opinion. It feels like they had that burn. The 1994 Ivo leaving burn.
Dang.
Which is too bad.
That is too bad.
Because I do think this record is so good. There's not many records like this that I hear and that someone doesn't make another record pretty soon after. So it was very sad to me because I was really obsessed with it. And
weird that they would just say, yeah, we can't do it anymore.
Especially they moved to the
Forget
US. I mean, they did the whole thing, like they were working. They were working hard.
Yeah. I
They were doing all
imagine
the
it
right
gets
things.
tiring after a while, though.
That's
when
kind
you're
of what
not-
he said in it.
If
He
you're
was like,
opening and you're not the main band.
in the thing that I'm going to connect, he said that as well. He was like, all the schmoozing, all that stuff, and working so hard.
Gets old
It
after
gets
a while.
old,
Yeah.
so.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, but they should have been the bride.
They should have been.
So hopefully.
Well, now you've given them just a little tiny, maybe like the size of a mini record.
Mini record.
Spotlight on them for just a little bit longer.
And it's definitely worth a much bigger one. Let's listen to the last song we're going to listen to from this record. And we're not listening to every song. There's 2 songs that I'm not playing, but
Okay.
pretty much everything else you are hearing. This song is called Take You There.
And I see you are a melody. I see you incredibly gold, and I can take you there, but I can make you care, and I can take you there, but I can make you.
I love that one. And it's a weird association for me that reminds me of Dream on Aine by Heart very much.
Dream on.
Not that
Dream
song.
on.
Not that song, but
Oh.
just the way that guitar is being played and the way her voice is just like understated, like she's about to rip into something, but she's not. Love.
Yeah.
Love. Yeah. I love Halloween. I love you, Brian.
Aw.
I love
She's
listening
all
to music.
full of love and hearts.
Oh my God, so much fun. Yeah. So yeah, listen to some Glee Club a lot.
You're looking around a lot. What's going on over there?
I'm just
You're doing
getting towards the end. I'm
getting things all
putting myself
sorted.
where I want to be for playing the last song. But yeah, I just love this band. So please go listen to some more Glee Club
Yeah, for sure.
and check out everything you can find.
So you said they came up with another album 20 years later. So there's something else out there that could be listened to.
You
Other than
definitely
this
can.
one.
Yes.
All right.
I just wanted to spotlight this one because it was huge for me. I really loved it.
It's great. Can't wait to listen to the whole thing.
Good. And eat lots of candy while you're doing it.
Only my favorites. And then I'll pass out and I won't watch the scary movie.
If you fall asleep, Brian, tomorrow it's divorce. It's complete divorce.
This is the scary movie that you need to make. Me
About-
falling asleep.
and me divorcing.
There you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
But
Well,
also, I wanted to
yes.
say, there's something else I want to say.
You're doing other things. You're saying other things.
Sorry. Something else I forgot is I'm leaving
Oh my
really
gosh.
soon on Monday. I'm going to the U.S. for months So we're going to try to record one more before I go.
Okay.
But that would still be not out for a couple weeks just to kind of space them. But if not, I'll be re-releasing episodes until I get back in January. But we can't make a podcast when we're apart. People do that, but I think it sounds weird.
Insane.
And I've never done it where I can't see Brian's face. And I just can't imagine doing that because he's got a really silly face.
Nuts.
And it helps. So anyway, so there might be a little bit of a break, but don't fear. We'll be back.
No fear.
And we will have more podcasts, but I got to go see a person about another person in the U.S. So,
well, as always, thank you so much for listening to I Already Told You That. What are you taking us out on, Melissa?
we're going to listen to a little bit more of Drives You Away.
Fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.